I'm camping, I love to research and explore the history of the area where I'm staying. After I found my perfect campground on the bayou, situated on the banks of the Pascagoula River in Mississippi, I remembered something strange that happened on this river almost 50 years ago. In 1973, Pascagoula, Mississippi became world famous when two local fishermen claimed they were abducted and examined aboard a UFO on the banks of this very river. What I didn't realize was just how close to my campground the site of the abduction actually was. Shepherd State Park sits on the very same water that Charlie Hickson and Calvin Parker were fishing in on the evening of October 11th. They had caught a few catfish on the banks of the river near the highway overpass when suddenly a glowing ship with blue flashing lights swooped down in front of them just a few feet above the water. What happened next has been the subject of decades of investigation, hypnotic regression sessions, and sensationalized reporting of the event around the world. I did some additional research to try and find the exact spot that it happened, and it turns out that it took place practically within walking distance of my campsite. I tried to get a good night's sleep, but of course it suddenly somehow felt different, even more unnerving than sleeping amongst a bayou filled with alligators. In the morning I cooked a good breakfast, then set out to explore the site of one of the most famous alien abductions in history, across the street and down the road from my campsite. I'm hunting for gators. No, they're here.
So after we got off work, probably 4:30, I think, we were working 9 hours a day. I came home and to get my fishing gear, and we wouldn't go out in a boat because we were going to the banks of the river and fish from the banks for speckled trout and redfish. So we got our bait and we got to the river and tried several spots, and it'd become dark by that time. We do quite a bit of fishing after dark, down here in that time of the year. So I don't know what attracted my attention, where I had reached around and get more bait, which was sitting behind us, or I heard some kind of zipping like sound, like air or steam or something escaping from a pipe. And as I turned around, I saw some two blue flashing lights, or either pulsating lights, I'm not sure. And it seemed like it was some type of craft, and it seemed like it was almost down to the ground then. In fact, it seemed to be about a couple of feet, above the ground, and it just hovered there. So Calvin had turned by this time, and he was looking at it too. And really, I didn't know what to do. I was just spellbound there for a few minutes, and then almost immediately, some type of opening appeared in the end that was toward us, with what I assumed to be the front end. And the light that had come outside, it was real bright light. And three things appeared in the doorway of the craft, and they seemed to just glide out of the craft. They never touched the ground. They seemed to just glide across. It must have been 25 or 30 feet from us, or maybe a little further than that. And they came to us, or just glided over to us, and two of them took me by the arms from the side, and one took hold of Calvin, and it seemed something like a big eye. I keep referring to it as an eye because it was about the size of a small baseball. In the end, it was focused toward me. It was a different color or different light, and it seemed to come directly out from the wall, and it came within 6 or 8 inches of my face, and it remained there for a few minutes, and then very few minutes, and then it went over my entire body. And they seemed to just glide back out to where they had taken me from and put me back down on the ground. Well, when they did, I fell because my legs were weak and they gave way on me. And it was this time that I seen Calvin again. He was standing there. He was standing facing the river with his arms outstretched, and he was almost in shock. He seemed to appear to me at that time something was wrong with him. But so I was trying to make my way toward him, and I was crawling. I couldn't get my legs to working. But before I got to him, the strength of what it was came back to my legs, and I was getting up on my feet, and I heard the same sound I'd heard before, a zipping sound. And I glanced around, and I saw the blue flashing lights, and the craft was just gone, just almost instantly.
On the night it happened, the men tried to contact local military authorities and ultimately ended up at the local police station to report their experience. The police secretly recorded the interview, and the following candid conversation between the two local fishermen took place while they were temporarily left alone in the room.
Jesus Christ. You hear about something like that, but you can't believe it.
Yeah, you hear about that? I know.
Where is something the United States have up there?
No, I'm sure
That wasn't done over
not what we see, not what we see. It's something, and the Air Force and all know it's up there too, see. And this ain't gonna be the only time this gonna happen again.
The shoes are like that hard to take, ain't she?
I know.
And one down each
That scared me to death too, something.
I just laying there crying right now. I can't tell you.
It's something that you can't get over in a lifetime, you see. Jesus Christ.
Mercy. Bad about it, nobody believes. That's what
I thought I had been through enough of hell on this earth, and now I have to go through something like this. But they could have, I guess they could have harmed us. They had us They could have done anything to us if they didn't hurt me.
Maybe why they just picked us up.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm telling you, man, I couldn't take much more.
I tell you, I gotta be home with the girl to get some nerve pills or something, see the doctor or something. I can't stand it. I'm back to all the pain.
I'll take you by the, when they get through this, we'll go by the burn. I'll get you something, settle you down with so you get some damn sleep.
I can sleep that like it is. I'm just damn near crazy.
Okay, when they brought you out of that damn thing, and when they brought me out, well, I like to know when the hell, you know, God damn, I like to know when the hell got you straightened out, man.
I didn't know. I remember my heart, they just froze out just like that. I couldn't move, just like the stuff on the damn walls.
They didn't do me that way, though. Oh, Lord have mercy.
I passed out. I passed out. That's the first time I ever passed out in my life. And checked the new medical records. And I've never seen nothing like that before in my life.
Just how you can't make people believe that, though.
I don't know, so you're going to believe it or not, because I
They
know
better wake up and start believing.
damn right.
I wake up and start believing.
Damn right. Yes, I seen it. I can't figure out the damn door. You see how that door come around on that side of the shed?
Yeah, I don't know how to open something. I don't know.
I didn't see no door swing open.
I don't know how to open it. I don't know how to
Shit on it. I don't
You see something like
and look around, them damn blue lights and them some bitches are just like that to come out.
yeah, I know. You can't believe it. You can't make people believe it.
I paralyzed right there. I couldn't
They
move.
won't believe it one of these days. They won't believe it one of these days. Might be too late. I knew all along there was people from out of the world up there. I knew all along. I never thought it would happen to me.
You know yourself, I don't grave.
I know that.
And it's
I
so.
know that.
And you got accused of being on that dope and everything else, but I know I ain't.
Very little I drink. I drank some while ago when I got out of that damn thing and set my damn nerves.
I asked if I took anything. I told you what.
And I'll probably take me a couple of drinks when I get to the house and make me
Tell
straight.
you something. If I thought it had my nerves, I'd go grab something right now.
When I get to the house, I'm going to get me another drink to make me sleep.
I can't. There's something I won't let you do.
Calvin had passed out and went into shock after the experience. He tried his best to talk as little as possible about the event. But as years passed, he was faced with questions that he still wanted answers to. He tells the story from his perspective in his new book and describes how long-forgotten injection wounds on his arm tie into the evidence record.
At the time of my abduction, when the alien reached out to take me on board the ship, from the first time I saw them, it was a fear I felt that is hard to describe. I just knew I would not live through this fear. As the alien made contact to my left arm, I heard a whisk of what I thought was air, then all at once I became really relaxed and all the fear was gone. Later on, after being examined by Dr. James Harder, I heard him telling Dr. Hynek that I had puncture marks on my arm, and later at the hospital I found out that I was given not one shot, but 2 shots. The second was while I was on board the craft. This simply confirms what I have always known, which is that both Charlie and I were given injections by these creatures and we had the puncture wounds to prove it.
After his first book was released, the city of Pascagoula dedicated a memorial near the site of the occurrence in River Park. Timing and planning is everything. The River Park Memorial Site was the final stop on my UFO abduction tour of Pascagoula. Once I got all my photos and video, I looked up to see something very strange in the sky myself. Something was about to happen. So, of course, I kept on filming. I'm starting to feel like there's some not so good energy starting to follow me.